So, is it sir, yes, sir, or sir, yes, sir? How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the Marine Corps potentially banning the use of sir and ma'am when recruits are referring to their superiors, specifically their drill instructors. Now, this story is absolutely crazy, and before I begin, please pardon the change. I am traveling, so you already know what it is, but this story is absolutely crazy for a variety of reasons. First of all, what are we even talking about? We're talking about the U.S. military. You're supposed to say, sir, ma'am, ultimate respect, ultimate discipline, the ultimate men, really, and some women, but the ultimate men. So if we don't have the military intact, then what do we have? If we don't have that institution as a strong and stable one, then what do we have really? You see, I think this is a coordinated attack because I'm gonna get into the article. Since I'm traveling, I don't have the regular how I put it on the screen. I'll look at my phone. Maybe I'll do some editing and put it on the screen as I'm talking. But this was a study from, I think, University of Pittsburgh. It was a $2 million study. Yes, $2 million to study the military and how they address people, how to be more inclusive of LGBTQ elemental people. Because after all, your drill instructor may not be a man, although they may appear to be a man, right? This dude may have a straight, chiseled, crazy jaw, okay? He can bite through iron with his teeth and no gold or no platinum on it, just regular bare teeth. He can do that, but he might not be identifying as a man. He may identify as something else. He may identify as they, them. And before I even get into the article, I got a question, just one question. If I can't refer to somebody as sir or ma'am, then what do I refer to them as? Is it going to be by their first? Well, we're going to start calling them by their first name. Like, what's up, Jack? What's up, John? Oh, man. Look, my dad was a Marine. He was a Marine. He was in Marine Reserves, and then he was a firefighter for a long time. But when he went to Paris Island, he was telling me about it, and he was saying how sir and ma'am was non-negotiable. It was non-negotiable. You had to do it. This is part of the reason why I say sir all the time. If you watch my live show, people calling up there acting crazy. I'm saying sir, 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 because I'm still going to respect you now. You might be getting on my last nerve, but I still respect you. And the reason why I do that is because I was raised that way by a Marine. He will always be saying, come on, boy, you got to say sir, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Every time I would see him, it didn't matter how old I was, how young I was. It was sir and ma'am because of that military experience, the military training. And his dad, my granddad, was in the military too, and it goes back. So sir and ma'am is just something that we do. And it's to the point where when I say sir and ma'am all the time in public, just talking to anybody, just showing them respect, they be like, yeah, are you in the military? Especially when I had the clean shave and all that. You're in the military? You former military? Did you ever serve? Because they know that the military is a place where you have a lot of respect, where you say sir and ma'am and that type of thing. This is why I think it's a coordinated attack, because whoever did this study may try to eradicate some of what makes the military. They may try to make it be more gender inclusive, more open to non-binary type stuff. Because if that institution goes, then what do you have as men to really say, this is the standard for how men should behave? This is the standard for men that are going to protect this nation. Now, I understand you got women in the military too. Shout out to y'all. But I don't think this is an attack on women. I think it's an attack on men. And that's the whole issue here. I have an article. Of course, this article will be in the box on the edit. But it's probably reverse here, but you see it. Okay, you see what's going on here. Marines told to stop using sir and ma'am to avoid, quote unquote, misgendering superiors. I wish I could make it up. I wish I was lying to you, but I'm not. This is 100% accurate. Now, let's get into it a little bit here. So it's a 738 page study for what? I don't really get it. They said traditional ways of addressing superiors were holding back gender integration. Gender integration, what does that mean? Are we talking about some kind of civil rights movement? Martin Luther King, Malcolm X? Like, what are we talking about? You see, this is part of the reason why this whole thing of the whole LGBT stuff is problematic, because you see, it's not just about, being married, the whole gay marriage thing. That's not even really the point. That's aside. That was an entry into all this other stuff. And say, hey, you know what? All we want to do is get married. We just want the same rights as you. That quickly became, well, you know what? I think you should allow us to be in the military as XY gender and get a free sex change on the house, because you know what? I have mental disorder. It's funny how the whole thing of being trans is a quote unquote mental disorder when it benefits whoever is having the so-called disorder, but then when it doesn't benefit, then they don't want to say it. Like if I say, you know what, you think you're transgender, that's a mental disorder, you might want to get checked out, might want to, lay on somebody's couch and figure it out, then I'm being transphobic. But then when it comes time for a sex change, oh, I have gender dysphoria, a mental condition, and the only way to fix it would be with a free sex change from the U.S. military, which means you, the taxpayer, pay for it. Funny how that works, but I digress. By teaching recruits to use gender-neutral identifiers for the drill instructor, services underscore the importance of respecting authoritative figures regardless of gender. What? I thought the respect came from the sir and the ma'am. And my thing would be, what is a gender-neutral identifier? A they, them? I wish somebody would call me a they, them. Like, I wish there would be a drill instructor in your face. Oh, give me 100 push-ups. Well, I wish I'm going to be like that, all in your face, spitting and everything, and you refer to me as a they, them. It just kind of defeats the whole purpose of having a drill instructor, having the military. It's just kind of ridiculous. Like I said, I think it's an attack on men to weaken the institution, to make us just be super inclusive to everything, and then you're to take it over. That's kind of what I think. So it was a 2-year study by University of Pittsburgh's Warrior Human Performance Research Center. Also said the Army, Navy, and the Coast Guard effectively de-emphasize gender in the integrated environment. See, they're using the word integration. I tell you guys all the time, watch their language, watch what they say, because they say certain things that are kind of dark whistles to me, and I hear it loud and clear. Integration. Why use that word? Why not just say be gender or inclusive, more inclusive of LGBT and gender and trans? Why say integration? Because they want to link this to racial integration. You see, that's the whole point. If they can link it to racial integration and the civil rights movement of the 1950s and 60s, then they can say, hey, you know what? If you're not down for this, that means you're a bigot. That means you're a racist. That's the whole point here that I'm seeing. And if you guys feel differently, if you think differently, please let me know in the comments below. But let's keep on going. Instead of saying ma'am or sir, recruits in these services refer to the drill instructors using their ranks or roles followed by their last names. That's crazy. I mean, so you got to say, Sergeant Miller. Like, what if somebody's not necessarily a high rank? You go say Private Thomas. I don't know, man. I don't know how that really works. Like, if they're superior but not a high rank, how does that really work? Quote, gender identifiers prime recruits to think about visually search for drill instructor gender first before the rank or role. Well, I see a man in front of me. That'll be what I see first. Before I see black, white, Puerto Rican, candy stripe. Before I see, but before I know what their rank is, before anything, I'm going to see a man or a woman. Now, sometimes lines get blurred between a male or a female, but usually I'm going to see a male or a female. Sometimes these men in the military think they look different than what they look. I was like, all right, you think you look super feminine. You look, in your mind, you think you're Kim Kardashian, but I'm seeing Bob Earnhardt in front of me. I'm seeing Dale Earnhardt Jr. in front of me. That's what I'm seeing. I'm not seeing Kylie Jenner, but I digress. Let's keep on going. All right. So the proposal is one of a half dozen recommendations for the Marines Entry-Level Training Advisory Council is considering. the report said, it's not clear when the service will decide on which one to pursue. Hall warned the December meeting of the Defense Advisory Committee on the Women in the Services that it would not be a quote-unquote quick fix. What are we trying to fix? I did not know the military was broken. What are we trying to fix? Now, I'm talking about some other things in the military that could be fixed. Trying to recruit better recruits. Maybe some things like that as far as preparedness of the military, that should be something to fix. But beyond that, I'm not really sure what should be fixed. Now, there's a lot more here. If you want to read the article, look for a link to it in the box. But somebody said right here, if captured by the enemy, at least we know our troops will be prepared to use the right pronouns. Hilarious. That's a funny comment to make, but it's pretty sad to make that the military is now worried about gender pronouns and more inclusivity with different LGBT and all that kind of stuff. But the first domino to drop, the first marble to fall, the first thing that happened was gay marriage. And I'm not against somebody being gay, whatever, that's their business. But I knew that once that particular thing got changed, then it would set off a domino effect. And here we are today talking about not even using sir or ma'am anymore in the military. What have we become? I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what said you? How do you feel about the military, or at least the Marines, being told to remove sir and ma'am and all of that, because that's archaic language. You can't have that anymore. The sir, yes, sir. Let's not do that anymore, because somebody may not be that particular gender. They may be a different gender. They may not identify as any kind of gender. They may identify as fluid gender. At 2 o'clock on Tuesday, they identify as a male. 5 o'clock on Friday, when they get off of work, they identify as a female. And then over the weekend, they identify as non-binary, and they switch their gender every 2 minutes. I mean, what in the world is going on here? Like I said before at the very beginning, I think this is an attack on men to weaken them when it comes to this, to weaken their discipline, to weaken their focus, to just make all this gender stuff, this gender confusion, be the norm, rather than something that is a fringe piece of society that only affects a very small portion of the people. It's to expand it. It's the enforcement arm of that particular group, the LGBTs, whatever you want to call them, trying to recruit because they cannot reproduce. That's just my humble opinion. If you're upset about that, you agree with that, whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.